Hello, edition of Ghettofabulous Warhammer. Today we're going to start things off with something new. I've been kind of aping Lord Tremendous's battle reports. If you haven't seen them, you should check them out. They're great. I'm going to add a new segment. He always starts his battle reports off with a little intro music. So I've got a song picked. Fits the Ghettofabulous theme and the gaming theme. And the terrible sound quality will fit the Ghettofabulous theme. So here you go. Enjoy. That was beautiful. I'm touched. Tech 9 is quite a lyrical master and has not received the accolades he deserves in this generation. Anyway, battle report number 3. A grudge match versus my opponent from last week, the one who defeated me with his evil high elves. Some changes to my list from last week. I finally have attempted to add a BSB, which meant I had to drop my level 2. The level 2 had been metal as kind of a backup since I was losing the metal level 2, and I figure metal is very important. And I was not really happy with dark magic on my level 4 sorceress. I made her a level 4 with metal. So we'll give that a try. Seems pretty versatile. And warlocks didn't get a very good game last time. So with the loss of level 2, I figured I'd replace that with another unit of warlocks. Ended up with 2 squads of warlocks. We'll see how that goes. The high elves, interestingly, despite beating me last week, my opponent was apparently inspired by my list, and he wanted to try something more shooty. So he's trying something experimental. I didn't get his actual list, so I don't have all of his war gear listed. The bottom line, there's no major melee threats, just a large block of Sea Guard, a couple small units, but Swordmasters and Phoenix Guard, but they're small. So, and a couple heroes that basically they're kitted out for shooting. I figured I could still outshoot him despite the shooting he had, and I thought I had the upper hand with mobility and melee as well. So I thought I should have a pretty good chance in this game. Here's his army, minus the archers. He hadn't put them down the table yet. And BAM! The Folding Tower. Kind of weird, not allowed at most tournaments, but again, he's fairly new, I'm new, we're just playing around with some stuff. And neither one of us is really familiar with rules for buildings either, so this is a good opportunity to try out those as well. Here's my army, laid out in all its incomplete glory. Still, there's a few new purchases and some painting progress has been made. Like the Hydra here. $18 or so from Reaper Bones. Looks good. Not quite finished, though. I got a little crazy. I hadn't painted for a long time, so I got a little crazy with the army builder, army shader stuff afterwards. So a little thick on there. I haven't sprayed it with anything matte yet. It's a little glossy, but you know, looking better than not painted. I also bought a large number of Mantic models. I got a big Mantic lot on eBay at a very, very low price. That was great. And one of the things buried in there was this guy. Seems like a appropriate model for a BSB master on a horse with a halberd. Just need to get him the banner part of the BSB, and he'll be complete. As you can see, our very simple terrain layout. My spells came up pretty solid. I'm not sure what I swapped out for Searing Doom. I'm not quite sure why I swapped out for Searing Doom, as he didn't seem to have anything really heavily armored in his list, but I did it anyway, so there you go. Here's my enemy spells. I hadn't faced either lore, fire or, what do you have, high magic there, before, so, no, he had death, that's right. So, kind of looking forward to seeing what they could do. Fire is pretty straightforward. I wasn't so curious about that. But death magic has quite a reputation, especially for character sniping and for short range. So I was curious how I was going to be able to play off with that. And deployment. My left, his right flank. That's a forest in the bottom left corner of the screen there. My opponent has his 10 sword masters, then the 3 bolt throwers on the hill, followed by the tower with his archers, BSB, prince, noble, and death mage all together. Um, the thought was that he couldn't deploy in the tower, so he deployed touching it so he could move in. I'm not quite sure if that's right or not, but that's what he thought, so we went with that. He's got the huge block of Sea Guard in the middle. For me, I've got the Hydra, which I figured could take the Sword Masters, especially after breathing fire on them, maybe a little bit of shooting to soften them up. My Bolt Thrower, well, multiple Bolt Throwers in the woods, using that for cover. I figured there's a good shooting angle for them, and if push came to shove and they had to shoot with the Bolt Throwers against on the hill, the cover would give us the advantage there. The Warlocks are next. Well, the Pegmasters and the Warlocks are there. I figure they can either rush forward, kill the Bolt Throwers, they can go support against the center. They had a couple options there. And then you see this 2 squads of crossbowmen, and the BSB is attached to one of them in the center. The large Sea Guard block also has a level 2 attached, and the 4th bolt thrower is behind them. Right, he just has a square 40mm base there, didn't have the actual model. Finally, the Phoenix Guard. You can see my 3rd crossbowman with the sorcerer there, and the witch elves. I hope the witches could kill the Phoenix Guard, and then all the crossbowmen, and maybe a little help from magic, could take the Sea Guard out. Finally, the warlocks and bolt throwers on the hill, and both squads of shades scout into the woods to snipe at his bolt thrower and or his units, whatever targets of opportunity came up. Overall, honestly, I thought I had a huge advantage here. I should win the left flank pretty easily. I already have the right flank, basically. And my opponent has lots of points in characters with really short-range death magic in the tower. So hopefully I could overwhelm the rest of his army and then clear the building at my leisure. There's the super best friend squad huddled behind the building, ready to go in. I've got the only vanguards in this game, so I move forward a little, nothing too crazy. He gets first turn, and the Phoenix Guard march forward while the Sea Guard move as well. The Silver Helms advance as well, and the Hero Star enters the building. If only I had a Trojan hare to sneak my way in, I'd be good. Here they come. Magic phase ends up 9 dice to 5, which is not good for me. Doom and Darkness, again, never having experienced it, I knew was bad. But I figure I've got the BSB, so I've got a reroll, and honestly, he may have a hard time getting enough wounds to cause a check, so I let it go through. Soul Blight, he cast next, and I didn't want that, but I let it go through. I'm mostly worried about him getting a massive fireball off and causing a panic check. And in fact, I think he used his remaining dice on Flaming Sword on his Sea Guard, which would have helped them as well, I suppose. So that was his last dice, so I used my dice to dispel that. Between the bolt throwers and the tower, I lose 3 warlocks to shooting, but I only lose 2 crossbowmen, so no leadership check. So my gamble seems to have paid off. His stupid bolt thrower does manage to kill 2 shades, but thankfully they do not panic like my last game. Overall, not a bad turn for me, I didn't think. So on my turn, the Hydra moves up to flame the Swordmasters, and the Masters boost forward to hopefully take out some bolt throwers. Not sure why I didn't charge with the Warlocks. Maybe, I don't know if it was a mistake thinking they couldn't because they vanguarded, or they were too far, or maybe I wanted them to draw fire from the Pegmasters. Not sure, but they didn't. They just kind of move around a little bit. and they are lined up to assault next turn if I choose. The BSB bails from the Doom and Darkness unit and goes to join the Sorceress. And the first crossbowmen move up to take the charge. The Witches move up to take on the Phoenix Guard. I'm not really afraid if they get charged. And I do have the Sea Guard kind of in their charge arc, so that's an option if I choose to take it. The Shades shuffle around a bit. And I roll a weak magic phase, just 4 dice to 2. But, with the advantage in dice, and the Sea Guard now in short range, I throw a final transmutation out there. And I nuke the level 2, along with a healthy 15 Sea Guard, so that's a good start. In the shooting phase, my Hydra's flame has let me down in the past, but we'll see how it does today. I hit 9 out of 10 Swordmasters. Statistically should wound about 6, killing 5 after armor saves. And a rather lackluster to wound roll. So again, disappointing performance from the Hydra Breath. Both the Shade Squads take out the Bolt Thrower. So that was a nice combo tag team there. Looks like shooting only killed about 6 Sea Guard, but yeah, I did pretty well in Final Trans, so I can't complain. Turn 2! The Swordmasters charge the Hydra. I killed a couple with the Bolt Thrower last turn, so he only had 7 left. The Sea Guard charged the Crossbowmen, and we shoot 4 down on the way in. The Phoenix Guard go into the Witch Elves. I'm hoping, please let my instincts be right and let me win this one. Another low magic phase, 3 dice to 2. He casts Fate of Buna, but didn't cause any wounds. I don't know if, I can't remember if he failed, I dispelled it, whatever. But didn't happen. Shooting does target my Warlocks, killing them, but sparing everybody else. Unfortunately, one Pegmaster panics and flees, which messes up my whole bolt thrower killing plans. Combat is bloody. On the left, at least, the Hydra takes 3 wounds, while om-nom-nomming 5 of the Swordmasters. It's a draw, however, so next turn should decide that one. You probably didn't see this loss coming, but the Sea Guard managed to obliterate my Crossbowmen. And with Doom and Darkness, they break. He pursues into the next unit. Several wounds here, but it looks like I should have it locked up. I win by 1, but he sticks around, but I've got enough wounds or attacks now to take out that unit. Random zoom in for some reason. Maybe it's dramatic. On my turn, the Pegmasters charged, well, the one Pegmaster charges the Bolt Thrower, and the Crossbowmen continue to flee. Thankfully, Pegmaster 2 decides to rally, and Magic comes up a nice 11 dice to 7. So, with a little bit to play with, I put Glittering Robe on the squad that's in combat. The Warlocks try to Soul Blight the troops in the tower, but it gets dispelled. And then I think I cast Doombolt, killing 2. Shooting was uneventful, I think. So we went to the melee phase, where my Hydra does finish off the Swordmasters, and then reforms back towards the Bolt Throwers. They may shoot him, or he may charge him and kill them. That's the next threat. With extra armor, more models, and the BSB, we easily win combat, although the Sorceress managed to take a wound here. He does manage to stick around in combat. You can see I wheeled the other crossbowmen there to help out if needed. And for the heck of it over here, I challenge his champion with mine, and they mutually annihilate each other in dramatic fashion. Otherwise, though, we slaughter the Phoenix Guard and overrun through the woods. We weren't sure. We thought that prompted a difficult terrain check, so we rolled for it, and 2 of them died. Pegmaster killed off the bolt thrower, and you can see the shades there. Moving up to plank the tower. No movement for my opponent, so magic comes up as a 5 dice to 4 and is easily shut down. Shooting is not so good for me. Mage takes another wound, but we win combat, overrun, and catch the little buggers. On my bottom of 3, the Pegmaster charges the next bolt thrower in line, while the crossbowmen fail to rally, and they continue to flee. Thankfully, I haven't gone off the board, though. Magic comes up, another weak one, 4 to 2, which seems like another good time to throw out a final transmutation. With 4 characters, I figured there's a good chance to snipe at least one of them. In fact, the archers may have all been dead from shooting by now. And here's my note that I killed nobody. But I did cast Irresistibly, which killed my poor sorceress. So, not really a good trade. I'm starting to regret that haven't been taking any protection for her. That may be something that changes. Mass shooting, and as you can see, there are no archers in there. I put a wound on one of the characters. My Pegmaster wins and overruns into the final bolt thrower. And my Hydra heals a wound. With my opponent hunkered into the tower, we roll for magic, 4 to 3. And basically, my force is now surrounding the trapped High Elf heroes in the tower. We're slowly closing in to get revenge. He casts Fate of Buna again, with all of his dice, and I fail to dispel. He generates extra dice. He kills the warlocks. And then he has dice left over for Spirit Leech, and he kills my Hydra. So he was a little bit of death magic has been quite a bit of damage now. I then, on my turn, kill his, I guess the end of his turn, I kill his bolt thrower, and he concedes at that point. Overall, I'm afraid to assault. I don't think I can take the tower with all the heroes in it. I don't want to hang around the tower anymore because he's going to death magic me and get shot, so I'm going to run away. But it's going to be kind of boring for me just to run away, him sit in the tower, and me just shoot it with bolt throwers and magic. Well, don't have any magic anymore. So he concedes, which means sweet, sweet vengeance. Kind of a strange anticlimactic battle, or ending at least, but it's a victory nonetheless. So I will take it with great pleasure, and we'll move into the after-action report. Overall, I think I was helped a great deal by my opponent's list. He was trying something new, and I don't think it was nearly as strong as his previous list. Again, he had a lot of points and heroes stuck in that tower where they could do relatively a small amount of damage. I was fairly impressed with death magic. Again, very killy for single models, as long as you're close and in range. But Doom and Darkness has quite a bit of range on it, and while it wasn't devastating to me in this game, I could certainly see the potential where if a couple rolls go wrong, you could destroy an army's battle line, or destroy the army if they start running off the board. Along the lines of the first bullet, not only do I think his list was weaker than his previous one, but I think my list was really ideally suited to taking his out. I've got the right tools to easily kill the couple small flanking, the smaller blocks of Swordmasters and Phoenix Guard, and with the one large block, again, between the final trans to take out a large chunk of them and lots of shooting, I had the tools really to take that down as well. And I've got the right number, I think, of shades and pegmasters to quickly take out siege engines. So everything had a role, everything had the ideal target in the enemy list, and I was able to quickly dismantle it. I'm learning to appreciate mobility a lot more, and I think my next list, I may go all the way and try to avoid blocks and just try to survive through either movement or the few static elements I do have, spreading them out enough to mitigate the danger from approaching blocks. And I'll just try to use range, magic, and mobility to project force where I want it. Yeah, could be fun. It'll be a lot more 40k. Again, in 40k I didn't use a lot of melee either. It was mostly mobility and shooting. So we'll see how it works. Ultimately, I think the BSB traded for a level 2 was a good trade, and I think the Warlocks are a good substitute. In fact, in some ways, they may be better than a level 2. They're more mobile, they're more resilient, they're more versatile. They can fight in melee. They have great spells that are, again, spells are versatile, both a debuff and a magic missile. So, yeah, I'm pleased with that. I'm also pleased with metal magic. It does a little bit of everything. It's not an incredible anti-horde block killer. Final Trans is good, but it's not as good as, I don't know, a Purple Sun or something. But it's got good range. It can snipe characters if you're lucky. So, yeah, I think I may play around with it some more. I forgot to add, I need something to protect my sorceress. Either an invulnerable save, a ward save of some sort, a potion of healing, grounding staff maybe to protect against some of the results on the miscast table. Something to make her more survivable. I think just about every game she's died or could have died without some luck. So, I don't know. It's a lot of points invested in a character. She does a lot for the army. She's worth too much to risk without some kind of protection. So that will probably be coming as well. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. Please let me know what you think. Leave your comments, your tactics, your tips in the comments below, and I will hopefully incorporate them in my next game.